Hello and welcome to another Stompy 51 miniature adventure. Today we're going to talk about the Frostgrave Ghost Archipelago Crewmen sprue and some very light kit bashing I've done with it. If you've been watching any of my videos and you haven't yet subscribed, go on, please do. Now, something that struck me initially about the box art and indeed the miniatures was that the pirates themselves seemed particularly culturally diverse. Now, leaving aside the fact that pirates and crewmen of any nature throughout the ages have probably always been a bit more diverse than usual, these are probably based, consciously or otherwise, on the Barbary Corsairs. I'm obviously no expert, but I read this book that explained that after the Christian kingdoms in Spain expelled all of their Jews and Muslims, or forced them to convert, the refugees ended up all over Morocco and Algeria. They were all intimately familiar with the coasts of Spain and Italy and the south of France, and some of them, however many of them, became pirates and started raiding villages along the south coast of Europe, to such an extent that whole villages were kind of just cleared out and were turned into slaves and sent to the Ottoman Empire. And the Ottoman Empire either wasn't particularly fussed by all of this, or it couldn't really control what was going on along the coast of Morocco and Algeria in any case. And it got so bad and it lasted for so long, even the US Navy, or must be the US Marines and the US Navy, had to go down there and try and deal with the problem, because the Barbary Corsairs were nicking people from New England. And I think that's what the song, the US Marines song, from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, is about. The shores of Tripoli are them going to try and sort out the Barbary Corsairs. And of course, the joke is, a large chunk of the Barbary Corsairs weren't North Africans or, expellees, whatever, from Spain. They were actually renegade Christians, renegados, who, just thought, hey, life's not that fun being a peasant or a fisherman on the coast of Italy or Spain. Why don't I go and join the Barbary Corsairs? And some of them rose pretty high. I can't help but imagine that's what the Triarchy in Game of Thrones House of the Dragon is based on, which presents a range of modelling opportunities for me, not least finding an appropriate model for the crab feeder, the big baddie who is head of the Triarchy pirates. Albeit for now, I'm giving my Archipelago crewmen a bit more of that mishmashed North African renegados feel. So first, let's get a closer look at the ones that come straight out of the box, except for the shields. So the shields are from North Star Miniatures, from their Dark Ages range, and when I bought them years ago, even though everything from North Star is absolutely fantastic, these just seemed slightly miscast. You can see the indentations around the bottom, but I thought, you know what, who cares? Nothing wrong with that. These guys fight for a living. Shields are there to get hit. They take damage. Not everyone maintains their shields beautifully, and they actually look all right. So we're starting off with the miniatures straight off the sprues, which I assembled based on what was there. And as discussed at the start of the video, you'll see there's this combination of kind of more North African looking characters, with scimitars and headscarves. And then there are some slightly more, well, I suppose they could be Turkic kind of looking, but more Mediterranean, perhaps European side looking miniatures. And you could have fun painting them with different skin tones. They don't all have to be European skin tone. And that's these. And I guess if we move on to those where I didn't go wild and kit bashing with these.
So we're going to move on to those where I took heads from other North Star sprues. I think these, so that fellow, his head is from the Oathmark Human Infantry sprue. And isn't he lovely? With his little sash. And then I think these four came from the Barbarian Frostgrave sprue. I mean, him with his slightly, is it sharpen or whatever, that swaby Germanic tribesman look from the Roman Empire. But you know, these guys do creative things with their hair as they leap overboard into the enemy's ships. I say enemy, these guys are just vultures, aren't they? And this head, I think, was from the Frostgrave Knights sprue, which had the worst heads of all of the Frostgrave box sets. And although they're all lovely, I just felt that one wasn't quite up to the same par. As I joked on another video, I felt that the knights looked like they were dressing up as knights at some kind of weekend fantasy festival rather than being knights. Now, as well as showing you the things that work, it's also worth showing you the things that don't quite work. So I thought these heads, being Byzantine Empire heads, you know, Anatolian looking, should fit into this perfectly. But they don't have any necks. Now, I probably could have put a bit of green stuff underneath there, or just leave them looking like they're dwarves, or like they just don't have much in the way of neck. I mean, does everybody? Maybe they've got guata or something, and they're just trying to hide it. Who knows? And that's a head from the Chaos Marauder horse sprue from by Games Workshop, and it doesn't work all that well, to be honest, because he looks a little bit too crazed barbarian. Also, I'm not sure about these clubs. I mean, obviously they would have used clubs, but they look like they're running around with baseball bats. So maybe one day, if I ever do get around to painting these, I'll cut the hands off and give them some swords, possibly from the Oathmark Human Infantry sprue. So let's line them all up. So we've got all 20 ranked up here. But then my idea was to take these Berber artisan miniatures, which fit in just perfectly with them, and are clearly a bit of a leadership function. You've got a dude with the drum bashing away so everyone knows what to do in terms of battlefield commands. You've got this fellow with a pennant stuck onto one of the longer North Star plastic spears. They sell separate spears. Fireforge do that through North Star. And I stuck it in his hand. I mean, it doesn't go into his hand perfectly, but it's all right. I think this dude could do with a shield, and I'm looking around. There must be, I think that would be a fantastic shield for him. So actually, I might just rip it off this fellow, or try and find another one in the bits box. I'm sure there's one there. You know, bits boxes are magical, things just come out of them. That's from the Oathmark Undead sprue, skeleton sprue, which is fantastic. And doesn't he look great? So he's the boss of the operation. And then obviously one needs a man of holy orders running around with a book.
All I need now is an appropriate head to plop onto one of these guys to be the crab feeder. Wasn't there some kind of king of Jerusalem or something in the Crusades whose face was falling apart because of syphilis or really bad eczema and he had to wear a mask. Anyway, if you have any ideas, do leave a comment. But on that pungent note, I think the renegados of the Barbary Corsairs will leave you in peace for today and live to fight elsewhere. Have a great evening, keep well, keep safe, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. If you want to leave me a comment, say hi, offer any thoughts about the plausibility of any of this, please do let me know. Keep well.